Okay, now that we've got our character jumping around on the levels, it's now time to look at our character gaining points by running over different items. In this case, I'm going to have little Gobo here eat donuts. So what we're going to do is each of the items that he is going to eat is going to be a sprite. Then we're also going to have different things for that sprite to do when our character touches the sprite. And in order to do this, in order to also change the score, we're going to have to create our own variable. This is something that changes during the game. So I've got my scripts over here, and I'm going to go through each one of these and show you what they are. So the first one is over here is that we want our sprite to change costumes. And you've done this before. You click on the sprite, you go to costumes. I have a pink donut and a chocolate donut. And in my scripts here, it switches from donut to donut 2, waits half a second in between each. So you guys have already done that. You know how to change costumes. But what we're going to do is figure out how to hide our sprite when Gobo touches it, and how to change this score over here when he touches the sprite. So first off, we're going to go into data here. And in data, you're going to make a variable. And I made a variable and I called it score. If you were to make another variable, you could call it score 2 for fun. Go ahead and click for all sprites. And then if you notice it shows up, oh look, here's score 2. And if we don't want to see this on the screen, we can get rid of this check mark here, and it's gone. Okay, so what we're going to do is when our green flag, we're going to come over here, when our green flag is clicked, we're going to show our sprite. It's going to show up on the screen. Then we're going to set our score to 0. You can do that by dragging out the block. I could also check, any of the other variables, but I'm going to set score to 0. That way, when we start our game, our score is 0. Then what we're going to do is, in a forever loop, if the sprite is touching Gobo, and we can change that to, it could be sprite 2, mouse pointer edge, we're going to change it to Gobo. Then we're going to change the score by adding 1 to it. Then we're going to hide the sprite. So let's take a look and see what happens when we do that. I'm going to click the green flag. He's ready to go. You notice my donut there is flashing its little pink frosting and brown frosting, and he ate the donut. Now you also notice that the score went up by 1. So now that we have our sprites and we're able to count them as he eats them, what we are going to do is now we have to have quite a few of these donuts here. Let me stop this. So this is really easy. What we are going to do is right-click on it and duplicate. Right-click on it and duplicate. But if you notice, they're not showing up on my screen right now. That's because in the script, I have when the green flag is clicked to show them. So I'm going to click my green flag right now. Oh, there are all my donuts. Now what I can do is I can arrange these donuts around on the stage here. I'm going to duplicate another donut. Shows up there. Don't know why. It just shows up there. And donut 5 should be flashing. I think it's because I haven't clicked the green flag again. So we're going to keep duplicating our donuts. Let's duplicate donut 4. I don't know why donut 5 didn't flash. We'll figure that out. Okay, so we're going to arrange our donuts throughout the screen here. And that way our little guy can go and eat all the donuts. And again, I don't know why that donut should be flashing. Donut 1, donut 2. Well, let's try this again. We'll stop. There we go. Now they're all flashing. Okay, so now as he eats the donuts, it's increasing our variable by 1 each time he eats a donut. So I'm going to jump over here and eat these yummy donuts. And each time he eats a donut, come on, guy. Okay, there we go. His score goes up. Okay, so that's one of the ways to make your game where it increases points as you hit the sprites. Now, so you can have as many sprites as you want. Let me stop it, show it again. Sprites show up. As you noticed, my guy is programmed to come back to the starting point, and that's a good thing. So the other thing you can do is, you also notice I have score 2. So I can increase score 2 And I can say score 2 is 0 right now. Oh, and this one it should tell me what score 2 is if I click on it. So we're going to make another one because I'm going to put in another donut way up here. And so I'm going to do a new sprite. I'm going to find our donut. Okay. And oh, he's a big donut, so we need to make sure he's a little smaller. Let's make him smaller, but not too much smaller because we want Gobo to eat the big donut at the end. So now I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to put him way up here. And in the scripts, we're going to do that again. We're going to go, when clicked, we're going to show our donut. And we're going to put in a control loop forever if touching Gobo. We're going to, this time we're going to increase our score by 5 because that's our big donut. So we're going to change our score and we're going to change it by 5 because that's going to add 5 points to the end. And then at the end too, we can have our hide. Okay, there. Now if Gobo, I'm going to just move him up here. If he hits the donut, hang on, click green. If he hits this donut up here, I'm cheating, don't mind me, boom. Our score should have gone up by 5, but yet it didn't. I wonder why. Let's take a look. Score by 5. And this is called troubleshooting. Ah, I was changing score too. So sometimes when your program doesn't work right, you need to go through and look at the scripts and see if you have something that needs to be fixed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that back to score. Okay, I'm going to start that over again. I'm going to cheat again just to test my program. So once Gobo hits that big donut, the score down in the corner should change to 5. Boom, it does. Now we know that we did that one correctly. So that's a way also to have different scores happening in your program. Okay, so also remember that you need to have instructions in your game so that the player knows how to play the game. And this is pretty easy. We're just going to put this on our backdrop. I'm going to take my text tool here, and I'm going to type it in this blue here, so I'm going to select white so we can see it, and I'm going to put it there. So let me see if I can get it a little lower. There we go. And I'm going to say to move Gobo, use arrow keys, eat donuts. Okay, so that then will show up here. And it may interfere a little bit with his moving because I've got it so large. I might actually want to use a different font. Let's see if we can undo there. Okay, undo. It won't let me undo. Oh, yeah, it did. So let's take a smaller font. Let's look at maybe Helvetia here. And let's try that again. 2. No, it's going to be a lot bigger. So we need to make sure that our bottom area is big enough for our font. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to make a bigger base for Gobo here. There we go. Now I'm going to put our font in. Let's go back to the Scratch font because it's kind of funny. I'm going to click down here to move Gobo, use arrow keys, eat donuts. Okay. Then if we click out of here, then it's going to show up down here. It means I'll have to move my little donuts around. And let's see if we've got room here. Gobo still has room to jump, barely. So we're going to go over beep, beep, eat those donuts. There we go. Clunk, clunk. Okay. So we've got our instructions in. We've got Gobo going. We've got our sprites changing costumes. We've got our score. We've got pretty much everything you need for the level jumper game. If you remember back here before, we went over how to make Gobo jump and be exposed to gravity. We have our stage with our 2 color levels for him to jump on and not go through. We have our sprite donuts that switch costumes and hide when Gobo touches them or eats them and change the score. So that should be all that you need in order to do this program. I'm going to put the scripts again into the classroom so that you can see them along with this video. Good luck, and I can't wait to see your games.